I mean, it's a lot. I feel like just last year, I feel like we were just finding ways to lose games. And, for us to just come out here and just be on the other end of one-score games, I feel like it just goes to us just understanding how it felt to be on the other side.
Once you get on that side, hopefully they can stay on that side. Welcome into Teal, the show. The Jaguars are riding high off of a last-second win against the Raiders, and now they got to take that into Houston. It was a busy week for the Jaguars. Kyle, look, a little bit of a surprise move on Tuesday. We talked about it on Monday's episode of Teal, the show. Jakobi Meyers, now officially a Jacksonville Jaguar.
I know. Hey, it's almost like we kind of predicted it. But, hey, it feels good to be on the other side, by the way. So yeah. I bet you he feels good being on the other side of it, too.
I'm sure he does. Look, the Jaguars are rolling, and now maybe you bring Jakobi Meyers to town, and he can help out a little bit. So a little bit of a switch. So they do bring a player back to Jacksonville, and they send a 4th and a 6th-round pick to Las Vegas to the Raiders in exchange for Jakobi Meyers, who's now your newest Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver. I know I saw some people saying, oh, they paid too much for him. The Jaguars still have like 11 picks in the draft, so I think they could afford to send 2 to get some immediate help from Jakobi Meyers, who's a pretty good wide receiver in his very own right.
Hey, that's the key is immediate help, right? The draft, that's a while away. We needed immediate help, and this is definitely a good pickup. We actually got a chance to talk to him after practice, and he says he's happy to be here.
Honestly, I haven't even had a chance to take it all in yet. I got the call, was on a flight 2 hours later, and was at practice just now. So it's been moving quick, but I'm honestly happy, man. I'm happy to be here, help the guys out, do whatever I can to help make the team better, and just try to go win some games.
Yeah, I bet he is happy to be here. You know, he had demanded a trade out of Las Vegas, wanted to get off that Oakland Raiders roster, said he wanted to win some football games. The Jaguars just happened to be 5-3 and just beat the Raiders. So I think he is happy to be in Jacksonville. He did also mention that while he's in the last year of his contract and he does want a new contract, he said it would be crazy. He's not walking in the door of his new team and saying he wants a raise day one, right? So he knows he's got to go and earn that with his Jaguars coaching staff and Jaguars front office through the rest of the season.
Hey, it'll definitely be nice to see him maybe make some plays this Sunday, and we'll get to that. But first, Coach Camp he's actually pretty familiar with Jakobi Meyers, and so we talked to him this week, and this is what he had to say about him.
Well, it's funny. I was talking to him yesterday. When I was in Miami, we played him like twice a year when he was in New England, you know. I'm like, this guy is a total pain in the like, he just catches everything and he blocks everybody, you know what I mean? Like, he would go in there and you got guys like in 11 personnel, Z receivers usually getting in there and MDM in the safety, and I mean, he go in there like a damn fullback, you know? So I always had a lot of respect for him as a player, and coached against him in college too, actually. But he's really like, when you look at receivers, he's such a, you value guys like that so much, you know what I mean? They go make contested catches, and he's tough. I always felt like that. He was a hard guy to defend when we were in Miami, because there could be 2 guys at the point of attack, and he really attacked the football and going up in the air for the ball. A lot of times I remember he made a couple sick catches against us that I'm definitely over by now. But no, but yeah, I'm happy to have him here, man. He's an awesome dude too.
It's the I'm definitely over it by now that gets me at the end. That might be the highest compliment that you can get from a defensive coordinator in the NFL, that he remembers the guy and that he was a pain. But now I'm sure Coach Camp is very happy that now he is officially a Jacksonville Jaguar. Teammates now, you know?
Hey, he's definitely, I think he's definitely still thinking about some of those catches, even though he said he wasn't. That's what it seemed like to me.
Definitely over it by now. Definitely over it by now. So Jakobi Meyers is going to slide in for the Jaguars, probably going to have to play a big role this week. You know, Brian Thomas a little bit banged up after leaving that Raiders game. So Jakobi's been trying to get up to speed. Coach Camp, not the only coach on the staff that's familiar with him. Jaguars wide receiver coach Edgar Bennett, who comes to from Jacksonville, by the way, but comes to Jacksonville after coaching with the Raiders previously, so he knows Jakobi Meyers pretty well. So they're going to try and get him as up to speed as he can get. Liam Cohen said he thought that the week went well with Jakobi, and feels like that they have enough installed that he's going to be able to be a big part of what they do against Houston this week.
And I definitely think this is a little bit different, you know, offensive scheme than Greg Newsome, who maybe took a little more time. How much do you expect to see him on Sunday?
Look, I think Jakobi Meyers is a big move. Obviously, you have to limit him a little bit since he only has a week to learn the game plan and start getting introduced to the offense. Liam Cohen made it a point to say that this offense that they run in Jacksonville is very different from the offenses that he's run in his NFL career. So we'll see just how long it takes him to get up to speed. But he says he's going to play him on the outside, let Parker Washington handle that slot role. And you know what? Look, we'll see. James Gladstone said this week that Jakobi Meyers' superpower is catching the football. And it's no secret that the Jaguars have been a team that struggled with drops this season. So I think they're going to slide him right in and just hope that he can use his superpower to help them move the chains and keep the drives rolling.
Well, I mean, if that's his superpower, then I think he picked the right profession.
Yeah, look, hey, if that's his superpower, you know what? I think he's on the right team right now, because that is a superpower that they definitely need to get the passing game off and rolling. I mentioned it, Brian Thomas a little bit banged up. De'Ami Brown was coming off of a concussion. Looks like he'll be able to go this week as he kind of progressed through the concussion protocol. But still a lot of questions about the availability of some of the other injured guys for the Jaguars as they get ready to take on the Houston Texans. Big-time divisional matchup that we'll talk a little bit more about on the other side of this commercial break here in Teal the Show.
Ultimately, it's a big game because it's the next game. That's the way we look at it. So it's a must-win for us, and we're preparing that way.
The next game is always the most important game. And in this case, it also is an opportunity to completely bury the Houston Texans. They've been struggling this season. It's a divisional game. If the Jaguars can go ahead and get this dub in Houston, you basically take Houston out of the race. On the other side of the coin, you lose. You kind of give Houston a little bit of life down the stretch.
Yeah, it'd be nice to go ahead and get him out of the way, and then you can just strictly focus on the Colts. But I will say, I can't remember exactly if I picked them at the beginning, but picking them to win, you know, sweeping any team in the AFC South is hard to do, and they have a chance to do it. So it is a big game.
I can tell you what you did at the beginning. No, you did not pick them to win this game.
We'll see. We'll see.
Look, I think and unanimously, most people agreed they'd split with the Texans. But I think most people also thought that the Texans would be good and didn't expect that the Jaguars would be playing against Davis Mills instead of C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud was injured last week in a very similar play to the one that injured Trevor Lawrence a year ago. Also very interesting that DeMeco Ryans had a different opinion on that injury than he had a year ago. How time changes things, or when it's a guy on your sideline. But neither here nor there. C.J. Stroud going to be sidelined this week. Davis Mills, the backup quarterback, is going to be leading that Houston Texans offense. So that is a big lift. While Mills has been around the league, he's beaten the Jaguars before in his past. He is not C.J. Stroud by any stretch of the imagination.
But the Jaguars have struggled against backup quarterbacks. Even this year, you know, when Jake Browning came in, I know people want to forget about that, but you know, sometimes a backup quarterback can just make it seem a little different. So hopefully they don't run into that, but I know they're preparing like they need this one.
Look, this is a big game, not just because it's the next game, but because it's an AFC South game. And the Jaguars are still trying to keep pace with the Indianapolis Colts. Colts got a loss last week. Who knows? Maybe you can get them to start stumbling down the stretch. We talked about the Colts' schedule gets harder and harder, while the Jaguars' schedule does have a bunch of easy games the rest of the way. But it doesn't matter if they don't go and win those easy games. This Texan game, Texans don't have a good record. They've been struggling this year. There's questions around who's going to be the play caller, stuff that you've seen here in Jacksonville. It's starting to spiral for them there in Houston. The Jaguars need to go and take care of business. They need to go win. They're a little bit of a banged-up football team. They came out of that Raiders game rough. I mean, we've seen Jordan Lewis miss practice time this week. We've seen Brian Thomas miss practice time this week. Hunter Long miss practice time this week. Ezra Cleveland miss practice time this week. It's a long list of banged-up guys, and that's part of the reason why you're going to probably see a guy like Jakobi Meyers really pushed out of the nest to go and need to be able to play a big role in this offense day one, is because they've been so banged up. I mean, they lost a lot of guys last week, and some of those guys are real leadership kind of guys that probably aren't going to be able to go this week against the Texans.
One way I think, you can help a banged-up football team.
What's that?
Run the ball.
Yeah.
Run the ball, which I think they're going to try to do. We saw it last week in the Raider game, and I think they continue doing that. That's what they did well early in the season. I think that is your way to success in this matchup for sure.
Yeah, look, and if you go back to the first matchup with the Texans, in the second half of that football game, they were able to run the football. So they want to pick up where they left off and get to running the football. I think this is going to be an opportunity for Travis Etienne and Bashal Tutin to have a real impact on this game, and both of them to probably have big games because they're going to lean on that running game, because the wide receiver room, a little bit banged up, and you got your running backs that have been rolling a little bit. So I would look for, if I'm looking for something, I'd say Travis Etienne. I think the line's at 55 rushing yards for him. I'm slinging the over on that one easy. I think the line on Bashal Tutin's like 33 rushing yards. I'm taking the over on that. I think the Jaguars are going to have a pretty decent day running the football because they're going to go out there and try and commit to it early.
You know who else would like that? Bush Drive Rich. I think he'd love to see them run the ball. So that's
listen to Bush Drive Rich and you run the football, you win games. So I think the Jaguars are going to listen this week and they'll go out there and get a dub and win the game. So I'll pick the Jaguars to win this one. I think it'll end up being a low-scoring affair, but give me 24-17 Jaguars.
Ooh, okay. I am also going to go Jaguars. I always struggle with the points because I want them, I'm going to give them 31.
Okay,
I'm going to give them 30. I'm going to go 31-23 and, watch them score 7 or something. But 31-23, I do think
it'll be like that Thursday night football game that everybody suffered through.
That was a low-scoring one as well. But I think they stick to the plan that's been winning the games, run the football, play solid defense, make the plays that need to be made, and then they can find a way to come out with a win. I think it will be a close game. The Jaguars always seem to make it a close game, so that should be exciting. But give me the Jaguars.
Get through this one, and then we get a trip to the bank. Feels like they haven't had a home game in a long time.
No, it's been a while. It's been a while. And that means a tailgate. Tailgate will happen, too.
Tailgate will happen on the other side of this one. So if they can come back with a dub, then that means we get a Victory Monday type show, and hopefully you'll come hang out with us on Monday night, win, lose, or draw, because we'll be here for another episode of Teal the Show. Every Monday and Friday night at 11:20, come hang out with us, and we'll talk nothing but Jags. Good night, everybody. Go Jags.